you to Voice for Hope and to Judy for organizing this and for having me speak here today. I work with Diane Miller at National Health Freedom Action and National Health Freedom Coalition, and she is here at this event and available for questions if there's something that comes up that I can't answer. So I'm an attorney, and as I said, I work for National Health Freedom Action, and that's the lobbying organization. We're a 501c4 nonprofit, and we work to protect maximum health care options for consumers. What we do in general is we want to educate and train citizens. We do that by teaching them about health freedom principles and how to develop and pass proactive legislation. We also assist state leaders in developing local health freedom organizations and try and work with citizens and find citizens who want to promote legal reform regarding complementary and alternative medicine. So we draft model legislation. We also will testify at public policy meetings or committee meetings. And we also participate in different, the National Health Freedom Coalition, Health Freedom Congress, and the U.S. Health Freedom Assembly. The ultimate goal of the work that we do is to ensure that the rights of healthcare practitioners to offer their services and the rights of consumers to have access to the products, practitioners, and information that they deem desirable and necessary for their health journey. So the state groups that we work with, some of them, we're working with groups in over 30 states right now. Some of them are really big, some are small, some have the funds to work with contract lobbyists, and some do not. So we train them how to be citizen lobbyists and go interact with their representatives. And some include leaders, from different organizations. Some of them are just consumers who want to support their right to go see the practitioners practicing in the state, and some of them do have practitioners as well. So what we try and emphasize to citizens when we're teaching them about health freedom principles is that the law is words, and words just come from the people. We can write down what we want to see enacted, and if you get it to somebody who has the power to get it passed, that'll become the law. And so it's a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And so what Voice for Hope is trying to teach us is that to not be afraid of interacting and to use your power as a constituent of these representatives to have the conversations that are important to you. And that's a nice quote there from Diane about needing to change the laws when they no longer suit us. So the levels of laws, we work at state level, federal level, and the international level. At the state level, you're going to be generally discussing occupational laws and regulations that have to do with complementary and alternative health care. So it'll be licensing laws or certification laws. The federal and international level, federal law regulates commerce, so we work with product laws and regulations that have to deal with access to desired products. And the way that we do this is either using Capital Watch and an electronic bill tracking service, and we try and identify legislation that will restrict health freedom and then notify relevant people. So at the state level, as I said, we're harnessing the police power because we're looking at the licensure state, and the states have the power to regulate the health, safety, and welfare of its citizens. What we're mainly concerned about is that there are practitioners who are getting shut down under state laws. And they can be charged with practicing medicine without a license. This is a crime. And it is not just unlicensed people who get shut down. Licensed professionals also get shut down for, doctors can lose their license for practicing outside of the prevailing medical practice or for practicing outside of the standards of care. And the reason that they can be shut down is because the definition of the practice of medicine is defined very broadly. This is just an example of one of the state definitions of the practice of medicine. You can see it includes the diagnosis, treatment, prevention, cure, relieving of human disease, ailment, defect, or other physical, mental condition. What you should notice here is that it's a very broad definition. We want it to be broad. We want healers to be able to use whatever modalities or implementations that they can to heal people. However, if there aren't proper exemptions, you could see how easily a recommendation about having chicken noodle soup when you have a cold can be considered within the practice of medicine. So we work to get exemptions to those large definitions, and we have had some victories. And what we refer to these laws are safe harbor exemption laws, health freedom laws. We've had success as of last year. We're still hopeful about this year, so I'm just writing the 2012 ones right there. Those are the states who have health freedom protection for unlicensed practitioners. So they're protected from being charged criminally for practicing medicine without a license. We've gained exemptions in the law for them. These are the states that have introduced health freedom bills in the past, and we're also working with Illinois, Pennsylvania, and South Dakota right now. They have language from us that we're trying to find a sponsor for and get a bill number. State bills to support right now, as I said, Illinois, we're still waiting on a bill number there. Michigan, these are the bill numbers from last year, and session is still kind of early, and the cutoff deadlines haven't occurred in these states yet. So we'll be working with the groups to support those and get them moved through the legislature. State bills to oppose this session are listed up there, and what I just want to generally say is, there's a lot of text on the side, but typically licensure bills, they attempt to gain an exclusive set of rights for a small group of practitioners. And when they do that, it will criminally ban the right to practice or engage in that exclusive set of rights by anybody else. So anybody else who didn't attend the type of school that is listed as the proper credential in that bill, or and they can't use the title that is being restricted. So when it's a dietitian licensing bill, it's going to attempt to prohibit citizens who are not licensed dietitians from advising or recommending anything regarding nutritional health. So what we work to do is to get exemptions from those licensing laws that say, well, you don't really mean people who are talking about dietary supplements, and you don't really mean, and carve out all the exemptions that allow the unlicensed practitioners to continue to provide the services that they do. At the federal level, as I mentioned before, this has to do with regulating commerce. So it's going to deal with products. And what I want to draw your attention to here is B and C, the definition of a drug. Articles intended for the use, diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease in man or other animals. Articles other than food intended to affect the structure or function of the body of man or other animals. So this is the same problem that we saw with the definition of the practice of medicine. We see with the definition of a drug. It's very broad. However, herbs in the United States are dietary supplements. Are dietary supplements, so that means that they are regarded as foods. They're regulated as foods that are generally regarded as safe unless proven otherwise. And because they are generally regarded as safe unless proven otherwise, then the government needs to regulate them in the least restrictive means. They carry a presumption of safety, and we work to protect consumer access to those products. As you saw with the definition of a drug, it's an article that's intended to affect. So what we run into is that people want to talk about dietary supplements or put claims on dietary supplements about the benefits of those products in relation to a disease. And unfortunately that's prohibited because talking about it in that manner would turn it into a drug. So there are some bills that we're hoping will get reintroduced. Unfortunately, a lot of the sponsors of the bills are no longer serving. So if you can just glance at those numbers and then, stay in touch with us about, through our website, and we'll be tracking those legislation. The point that I want to make about those is that rather than relying on, you can see Free Speech About Science Act of 2011, when we see these types of bills, they seem to entrench the conversation into legitimate scientific research. And what we are more focused on, and what health freedom advocates are focused on, is protecting the right to say what works. Whether it's for you, whether it was for your grandma, or we want dietary supplement companies to be able to use testimonials from consumers of their products to be able to speak the benefits of them. And right now, that is not. It's illegal for a dietary supplement company to use consumer testimonials, because if they have a disease and they relate it to a disease, it would be considered a drug. So if you want to get involved and you support what I've been talking about, there are lots of easy ways to do that. We've been working, as I said, with groups in over 30 states. So you can get in touch with us to sign up with one of those freedom groups. You can volunteer or act, call us and we'll help, free of charge. We're a nonprofit. If you give us a call and you're concerned about something in your state, we'll do conference calls. We're on the phone a lot. And if you don't have the time or the passion for it, maybe you have the money for it. And so we also accept donations. And that is it. And I have business cards up here if people want more information. Thank you.
Thank you.